I don't know how to describe this story. I just love this story. So let's just jump into it. Has to do with rabbits. And all good rabbits need a good lawyer. Here she is, Elizabeth Kearney. You're the lawyer for the rabbits.
I'm the lawyer for the rabbit's owner.
Technical. But the woman I really wanted to talk to was Debe Bell, who's gotten into trouble and is now a perpetrator of the law for owning rabbits.
That's true.
All right, let me start off here with you, Debbie, because I need to understand this. You live in Jefferson County.
Yes.
You have a house there. You got a barn.
Yes.
You have a lot of rabbits.
I did.
You did. What is it about rabbits you like?
They're small, they're easy for kids to handle, they work really well with the 4-H project. All of my children raise them. I use them for meat, I use them for fiber, we spin the wool.
You use them for meat? You
Yes.
eat the rabbits?
Yes.
You raise rabbits? You eat rabbits?
Yes.
So you're basically Elmer Fudd in this situation. You are a rabbit murderer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
But chicken too.
But beyond killing and mutilating and ripping the heads off rabbits, you also like rabbits as pets, and you do things with a 4-H with the rabbits you raise, correct?
I don't use my rabbits as pets. I use them strictly as livestock, and all of the children that raise them as livestock. So no, we don't keep them as pets.
All right, but for the 4-H, and for people in the city don't quite understand 4-H. I don't even know what the 4-H's stand for. This is teaching kids about agriculture. So
Yes.
you raise rabbits like some people raise chickens? Would
Yes.
that be a good? And cattle?
Yep, the
All
same
right,
way.
Same way.
They're auctioned off at livestock events every year at the 4-H fair situations.
And some of the
Same sort of
rabbits
thing.
you also have donated to, there's some sort of bird wildlife, birds of prey charity that they will buy your rabbits as well, correct?
Birds of prey I donate to, the zoo I was selling to.
All right,
So
that's the
we
way
were
to do it.
selling rabbits to the zoo for their big animals. The lion would go off his feet every now and then, and he would need something to get him to start eating again, and we'd provide rabbits.
Really? Elephants like rabbits?
Yes.
All right. So for you, this is an agricultural, horticultural business. Is this your main business? What is your main business?
I own Six Bells Farm, so
Okay.
I was running it as an A2 zoned farm. Yes.
All right. So you
Have for 30 years, 32
right.
years.
So I mean, we don't like to think about what we eat, but you eat cute little cuddly things. This makes you a questionable person. You understand this?
Well, they're not all cute and cuddly. Some of the
They're
little
all
bitty.
cute and cuddly. Have you
Do you
seen
want
a
to see
rabbit?
the
They're cute.
scars on my arms? Cute and cuddly.
But still, when you raise these animals, you raise them to harvest them
Yes.
or to sell them, and those people who buy them, they harvest them. Either they use them as feed for elephants or feed for raptors or something like that. Lions eat rabbits too?
Lions, not elephants. Elephants are vegetarian.
I thought you said elephants.
No, I said lions.
I could have we'll play it back. All
Okay.
right. And that's why you need a lawyer, because you
Apparently,
have a
that's
business.
why I need a lawyer.
All right.
Yes.
Let's then take this story. How long have you been doing this?
25, 27 years.
All right. You raise them, you sell them. What happened? What happened?
What happened? July 21st, 2011, I was working on a biodiesel project up in Boulder, and my neighbor called about noon and said, "You need to get home. They're seizing your animals." And I said, "What do you mean they're seizing my animals?" She said, "They're taking your rabbits." I said, "Who's taking my rabbits?" She said, "Jefferson County Animal Control is taking your rabbits." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "I don't know. There's nothing wrong with your rabbits." So of course I make my way home, and sure enough, my driveway's lined with sheriff's deputies, animal control, animal rights activists, Foothills Animal Shelter. I have 17 people.
Animal rights activists?
Yes, Colorado House Rabbit Society was there.
There's a rabbit society?
There's a Colorado House Rabbit Society
So there's
that
a
thinks
rabid
it's
rabbit society.
horrible to harvest a rabbit for food. They're basically vegetarians, so anything that you eat meat-wise is bad, and rabbits are meat, so I'm bad.
What were you charged with?
Well, initially they said, the zoning official was there as well, and he said, "You're only allowed to have 3 animals." And I said, "You need to check your regulations. I'm A2 zoned and I can have as many animals as I want." And we got into a little bit of an argument. At that point, the animal control officer said, "We're taking your animals." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "You have too many." And I said, "I don't have too many. I'm fine." And she said, "Well, they're sick." And I said, "Then take the sick ones. If you think they're sick, take the sick ones." "Nope, we're taking them all." So they proceeded without a search warrant to be on my property for more than 7 hours, tormenting my rabbits. They'd turned off the water to the air conditioner. They had left the barn doors standing wide
Do you
open.
have rabbit air conditioning?
I had a very elaborate commercial air
I don't have
conditioner.
air conditioning.
Well,
You're
after
telling
this,
me-
after this happened, I had some of my neighbors call and they wanted to live in my rabbit barn because it was cooler in there than in their house.
All right, so, all right, let me see if I understand this, because this is odd. I want to make sure the context is right. You've spent 25 years raising rabbits. You've helped kids raise rabbits. You're involved in 4-H. You sell to the zoo. You give rabbits to bird of prey charities. But you've been charged with being cruel to rabbits. All right, let's bring it over to the mouthpiece
Yes.
for a second here.
Okay.
I've never heard of anything like this. And we're going to show a few pictures later and take a look at just how nasty these working conditions are. But isn't Colorado an Aggie state that has the Cattlemen's Association and chicken farmers and Tyson chicken that is all over the place? They raise animals, but they do it at a really big level. What's the difference here?
The difference here is that they don't have quite as many lawyers on staff. Debbie doesn't have as many lawyers on staff as JBS Swift does. And Colorado, I didn't know this. I was a lawyer for 25 years, and Debbie's case came up, and I discovered that the animal cruelty statute is the only statute in Colorado that allows them to confiscate your property permanently before you're even charged with a crime. And in fact, you may never be charged with a crime, but you don't ever get your animals back.
Let me see if I understand this.
Yeah.
So Momforts can have cattle ranches, and Tyson's can have chicken farms of massive scale. This small businesswoman has how many chickens? How many rabbits?
Chickens? I had 30 chickens at the time.
All right.
193 rabbits.
All right, let's round it up to 200 rabbits. You have
Okay.
200 rabbits. So this is a small operation compared to a cattle farm.
Correct.
They have seized all of her business assets.
Correct.
It would be like going up to the Montforts and taking all the steer.
Right. Or it would be like going into Tom Shane's store and taking all the merchandise in his store.
I did that
Claiming
once.
an allegation, claiming that he was in violation of the law, but then deciding never to charge him with the law, but they wouldn't have to give the stuff back.
All right, so the law is I can take everything first.
Correct.
And then prove you guilty, maybe later.
Maybe
later.
not even charge you.
Have you been charged?
I've been charged.
What were you charged with?
Animal cruelty, matted fur and long toenails.
You talking about me?
Matted fur and long toenails on my rabbits.
That was the charge.
Uh-huh.
So the charge was you had, out of the 200 that you had, how many had matted fur?
Probably 12 of them max. Most of the ones that had matted fur were in the process of being groomed. Several of them were being put down and sent to the raptors. Many of the rabbits that were in my barn, 25 or 30 of them that were in my barn, were actually left with me by various groups of people that raise rabbits throughout the state and 4-H kids to send them to the raptors and to the zoo.
Really? So you get rabbits that aren't doing well.
Yes.
People donate them to you, basically
Yes.
to either nurse them back to health or to give them to a charity for some bigger animal to eat.
They don't ask me to nurse them back to health. Usually they're part of a breeding program. This is an extensive breeding program that we're all involved in. So usually if they've come to my house, they know where they're going to. They're going to the zoo or they're going to the raptors.
All right, so you're on the food chain. You're the guy who carries the plate to the
I'm
line.
the guy that carries
All
the
right,
plate.
got
I'm
it.
willing to do that. I'm very happy to do that for the kids. It's
Some
mostly
of these
kids.
some of these lines that you have been breeding, you've been breeding for years.
20-some years.
All right, and if I get this right, there are different types of rabbits that have different qualities of fur to make what kind of sweaters?
Angora.
Angora?
Angora wool comes from a rabbit.
Well, you just cut the hair off and then it grows back, right?
That's true.
All right.
That's true.
So you get those, but you've been breeding these to have different characteristics and different lines.
Right.
What happens now that they took your rabbits?
Well, they've totally destroyed a 20-year breeding project. They've destroyed 4 rare breed rabbits, some blue-eyed white, Netherland dwarfs, blue-eyed white Jersey woolies. The Champagne d'Argents were destroyed. They've effectively ruined everything that I was working for the past 20 years. And I had a 3-year research project going in the drug rehabilitation of Pasteurella in rabbits, which is a virus that rabbits carry no matter what. I'm a research scientist. So
Just curious. They took the rabbits. Did they take as good care of the rabbits, Jefferson County, when they took the rabbits from Debbie?
No, they didn't. They took them from an air-conditioned barn and put them in plastic-lined cat carriers that were all closed up in 94-degree weather and took them to a horse barn.
Took them to a horse barn.
Yes.
So to care for the rabbits, they took them out of the air conditioning, put them in little boxes that were plastic lined, and put them into a sweat box.
Correct.
And then when they pulled them out, they had urine on them.
One of them was dead upon arrival
But was live.
when it left my barn. Yes.
Right.
It
Does
died
this,
in
does
the
this
heat.
strike you as a little insane? Or
Very insane.
What was behind this? I've got
Money.
to think. How do you mean?
Money. They sold my rabbits. They took some very, very, very expensive rabbits and they turned around and sold them. They brought in
Jefferson County.
Well, Foothills Animal Shelter and House Rabbit Society. The rabbits that House Rabbit Society ended up with, they didn't spay and neuter. It's supposed to be a requirement that if you take breeding animals like that, they should spay and neuter them. House Rabbit Society did not spay and neuter my lion heads. My lion heads were part of, it's a new breed in rabbits for the American Rabbit Breeders Association. It's an exotic breed. It has not been presented yet, so it's not considered a real breed.
Let's take a look at a couple of these pictures. Just for the
Okay.
sake of time, we're going to run out. Here's the picture of a rabbit that needed some help. Now this rabbit, let's bring it up. This was a rabbit that was in bad shape that somebody brought to you, right?
Yes, that rabbit was dropped off on Monday, and we refer to that as the poster rabbit because they flashed that rabbit all over everything, newspaper and everything.
All right, so if somebody brought you this rabbit in bad shape, you were going to make it prey for some
I
bird.
was going to take the wool off of it and send it off to the zoo or to the raptors,
That
yes.
makes sense to me. Let's keep going. Now this picture is, oh, that's a cute little rabbit. Now what abuse did you do on this rabbit?
I have no idea. That's Louise. They said in court that she was standing in 2 inches of manure, she was badly matted, and had long toenails.
I've had worse dates. Let's go on to the next one. These are your cages.
These are my cages. This is how rabbits are raised on a commercial basis, and you can see the trays where the droppings go down below the cages, and the rabbits are in their cages. They've got the feeders on the outside. You can't see it really well, but
Let's take a
running
look.
down the side, they have a water line.
Let's take a look. And these are the cages that they put them in.
Yes, solid
Jefferson
bottom
County.
carriers, so they were standing in their own urine and their own poop.
So in other words, these cages don't drain, unlike the
they
cage.
don't drain.
All right. And let's do this last picture. This one gets me. Now, they were taken out of your cages in the air-conditioned barn and put into these boxes for 7 hours.
About 7 hours, yes.
All
Some
right.
of them longer
We've
than
only
that.
got 30 seconds here. I got to wrap this up. But I mean, it's just, this was part of a plan to stop people from
Having animals.
From having animals. People
Right.
what's the big lesson?
The big lesson is that don't let yourself be manipulated by PETA and HSUS, Humane Society of the United States, whose goal is for people not to have any domestic animals, period. And the way they do this is by going after people like Debbie.
So it's the small person they go after.
Exactly.
In hopes of someday going after the big person. That could be you. Join us next week. We'll see you then.